Welcome to the 27th session on operating system and Linux. I'm Manibhushan D'Souza, and in today's class we are going to discuss about paging. We will see what is paging first, and we will see how this paging has been implemented and how operating system manages this paging. Now let's come to the definition of paging. So what is paging? Paging is nothing but it's a memory management scheme. Now we know that whenever we talk about the memory, we assume that every process will continuously occupy its place. Suppose say you have a process 1, and if it is loaded into the memory, we generally assume that it's going to the program is or a process is going to start from here. It will continuously go in this memory, and finally it's going to end here. So from here to here the entire program will reside. Maybe if the other program is there, again it will have the starting point and the ending point. Within this space the second process will be there. So this is our knowledge of a continuous allocation. So if a process comes, you continuously allocate the space for that process, and if the next process comes, again continuously allocate the process for the next allocate the page for the next process. However, this need not be always true. Sometime what happens or in the paging what happens is we don't allocate the continuous spaces. So what we do is when a process comes in, we may allocate some space for this process, and the remaining maybe or the next space may be occupied by some other process. So it may not be possible for us to remove it. After that there may be some other process which may be there, and then there may be some space available in which we can fit our process. Maybe after that you may also get one more process, and then your process may come. So this is inside the memory. So I'm talking about the physical memory wherein the process has been kept. Now you notice that the process starts from here, it goes up to here, and then it continues from some other place, again goes down, and again it continues. So you notice that it is non-continuous. So it is fragmented. One piece is kept at one place. Now, is this possible? Can we have this kind of arrangement in the memory wherein the whole program is not there in as a continuous slot in the memory, but it is being splitted across multiple blocks? So this is possible, and this is what is the paging. So what is a paging? So paging is nothing but a memory management scheme which permits the physical address space of a process to be non-contiguous. So that means you have one block here, the other block somewhere else, the other block maybe somewhere else. Somehow they are connected together. Even though they are not continuous, they are placed at different places. Now what happens is during the processing, some of the pages can be swapped out, and something else can also be brought in. So it is also possible. So if there is no memory space, things can be utilized. So things can be swapped out. Now let's look at how this particular arrangement can be achieved. Now what is being done here is the physical memory, that is your RAM, whatever you call it as, it is divided into fixed number of blocks. So this if you call this one as your physical memory, that is RAM. So you divide the RAM into fixed number of blocks. So even though I'm drawing it, assume that they are all fixed sized block, not varying blocks. Okay, so generally it is taken as the block of 2 to the power. Now you know why we are taking 2 to the power, because it is much easier to do the calculation when something is there in the 2 to the power. And that the reason, if you still didn't get it, what is the reason is machines are binary. So if you give anything in the order of binary, it performs it much faster. So that is why the 500 to 12 and so on and so forth, we give the allocation in that. Now this physical blocks are called as frames, you must always remember. So what resides in the block that is there in the RAM, that is in the physical memory, is called as frames. So always remember that whenever I say frames, I am talking about a block which is there in the RAM or in the primary memory. So if a block is there in the primary memory, we say that as a frame. Now let's come back to the logical part. So logical blocks or logical memory is also divided into fixed block, and these blocks are called as pages. Now the question comes up, who is generating the logical address? You know very well, CPU generates the logical address. I have already talked about it. So CPU generates an address which is logical address, and there is a fixed address inside the memory unit, and that is the physical address. So logical address is also divided into blocks. Remember, physical addresses are divided into blocks, logical addresses are also divided into blocks. So we have if you take a program. Now if you take this particular, this as a, let me draw, okay, this as a program, then the program itself is divided into number of blocks. That's not the end of it. Your physical memory or physical location or physical address is also divided into blocks. Okay, what happens? Let's see that. Two things you must always remember, very important, you cannot forget it. If it is a physical memory, it is called as a frames. So physical address is a frame. Always remember, physical address is frame. Logical address is called as pages. So what you have, page, and what you have, frame. So logical, it is page, physical, it is frame. Remember that, don't forget this thing. So inside the logical, the division is called as a pages. Inside the memory, it is called as a frames. Two different things. Sometimes I interchangeably use it, but you must be intelligent enough to guess which one is proper. So when the program is executed, what happens? The pages are loaded into the frames. So when I say when the program is executed, pages are loaded into the frame means, remember when we say logical address, who is going to use this logical address? Logical addresses are used by CPU, no doubt, and other one is logical addresses are used by us. Okay, so I say x is equal to 10. So what is the meaning of this? I assign 10 to x. But what is physically what is happening? Somewhere in the RAM that 10 is being stored somewhere. Okay, so even though this is a logical, but actual some bits, zeros and ones are being stored. So during the execution, so suppose where is your program is residing? So it resides in the memory, in the secondary storage device. Say let's you have the program, and what is I told you, logical memory is divided into smaller blocks, and what is this block? These blocks are called as pages. So you have pages of your program, and what is being done? These pages are being what is done during the program execution. These pages from your logical program address are loaded into physical address, or it is also called as frames. So pages from your logical address are loaded into physical frames. Hope you get that thing. Okay, so when the when the process executes, the pages are loaded into the memory frames. Okay, now in order to be proper to be useful, or in order to avoid confusion, the size of the frames. So you have this pages here. Let me redraw it. So you have you have the process here, program here, and this is divided into pages, and it is being loaded into frames. The size of the frame and the size of the pages are kept the same. Why? Because otherwise it will create a confusion. If the size of this page is larger than the frame, then it may not fit. If it is smaller, it will waste the space. So the size is kept in both the sides. They are kept as a same, so that it is easier to use it. Okay. Now, what is being done? Whenever a program has to be executed, suppose if the program contains n number of pages, and if there are n number of frames, remember, n number of pages means logical, n number of frames means physical. So during the execution, n number of pages from the process are taken and they are loaded into the frame, so that the program can continue. Now the question generally comes is, how do you map that? Okay, you said that you are going to keep the program in blocks. Then the question comes is, how do you use them? So if it is a continuous memory allocation, if you give the starting address, the program can continue because it's a continuous one. Now you are saying that one piece will be here, one piece will be there. How do you know that it is ended and it has to be started from here? So there must be some way in which you must achieve that thing. So in other words, when a logical address comes into the physical to the system, it must be mapped to the physical address. In other words, page address, whatever you are getting, must be mapped to the frame address. Hope you get that things. Remember, logical address is the page and physical address is the frame. So page address has to be mapped to the, somehow has to be translated into the frame, otherwise it's not going to work. So if I just tell you that you can split the program into pieces, logically everything is good, I can say many things, but it should work, somehow it has to work, is it not? Inside the system something must be there to translate and say that okay, this piece belongs to that frame. Somewhere some translation has to take place. So let's look at how the translation occurs. So assume that you have the logical memory. Remember, logical, you can imagine that as your program addresses, that is there on your program, whatever program you are writing, that's address. Physical is your RAM, you know very well. So what you have done is you have divided your program into blocks. Okay, these are called as pages. You have also divided your RAM or memory into blocks, and you call them as a frame. Somehow this page has to be mapped to the particular, this page has to be blocked to the particular frame, otherwise things will not work. Okay, so you can't simply say that okay, I will split and keep it ever. Then how do you access it? How do you use it? Okay, so in order to translate the page number into frame number, remember this is page number, into the corresponding frame number, we use a page table. So this is the mapping, it produces the mapping. For example, page 0 is mapped to frame 1. So page 0 in your logical address is there at frame 1 in the physical address. Page 1 is there in the frame number 4. Page 2 is there in the frame number 3. So you are making a mapping. So from the logical to physical. When you say that if a program says I want to read from the page number 0, what does that mean? It means the program wants to read from the frame number 1. If the program says I want to read from the page number 3, what does it mean? it means it wants to read from the frame number 7. So this mapping occurs in the page table. So this page table somehow maps between the two things. Now I have already told you the page size as well as the frame size are kept same, and what is the size you must have? It is generally defined by the hardware of the system. Generally it is from the 512 KB, that is a half a kilobyte, to the 16 MB. Again, it is taken in the power of 2 because it is much easier to map the addresses. Okay, selection is 2 is much easier to find the page and the offset. Okay, so let's look at how the process or how the mapping occurs. Now, whenever a CPU generates an address, remember in the paging system, this cannot be achieved in any system. There must be some hardware support for achieving it. Without that, things will not work. I already told you. Just because I told you that you can split it into small pieces and do something, that is good to hear, but in reality something has to happen, and in that reality what is happening? So whenever a CPU wants to address something, whenever a CPU wants to read, write or do anything, what it says is you read from, generally it says you read from this location, RAM location. So it will not give a continuous RAM location. What is being done is whatever logical address the CPU generates, that is divided into two pieces. One is the page number, the other one is the page offset, that is called as the D, that is written here, that is the offset. Page number will tell which is the page, offset will tell how much you have to go in order to achieve it. For example, so just to say, suppose if you are creating a block, okay, so just a simple example, the size of block is 10 to say 20. This is one size, 10 to 20. Then again second block, just I'm just giving it this one, this will be 21 to 30. Let me give me that one. Okay, if you say, I will put it in 11 so that it comes proper. Now let's say this is frame number 1, this is frame number 2. Okay, so I want to read the 15th location. I want to read the 15th location. Okay, 15th location, something is there. Okay, let me say this is page number, the frame number 1. This is frame number 2. Now what is the CPU is going to say is, CPU is going to give me the address. It's going to give me a continuous address, but I have to split the page part and the offset part. So what it's going to generate is, it's going to say that page number 6, so CPU says page number 6 and offset is 5. So it's going to generate that. Okay, so what is the meaning of that? So it means I want to read page number 15, let's say. Okay, how does it goes? So page number 6 somehow has to be mapped to this frame. Page number 6 means somehow page number 6 means it has to come here. So I don't know how it has to come there. And then if you take this as a starting point as 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it has to read the 5th location. So that is the meaning of it. Go to the page number, the frame number 6, okay, and then read the 5th entry. Go to the page number 2 and read the 6th entry. So which one are you reading actually? 26th location. Okay, generally. Okay, 26 location that you are going to read. 21, 22, 23, 20, last is 26. Okay, so that is the idea. So 20 plus the other location. So I hope you get that thing. So how does the mapping occurs? So whenever a CPU generates an address, what CPU is going to say is, it's going to say which is, remember CPU, whenever say CPU is logical, so it generates the page number, like it may say page number 5 and it says once you get the page number 5, read the 4th location or read the 41st location. So it may say that. So go to the page number 5 and read. So then from the page number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, go to the 41st line, go to the 41st line of the page number 5, read that for me. So that is see. So now the question is, okay, CPU said that go to the page number 5. Now where is this page number 5 in the memory? So that problem will come. So if you get the page number 5 in the memory, you have to read the 41st line, okay, and give it to the CPU. So that's simple as that. So page number 5 and this is called as offset. Give me the offset. So in a page there will be many lines of text will be there. So it is like you are saying that go to the 10th page and read the 3rd line. So CPU says that go to the 10th page and read the 3rd line. But the problem is, where is the 10th line in the memory? In the physical memory, where is the 10th? For that there must be a mapping. Hope you get that thing. So what happens is, whenever the CPU says, let's say, go to the page number 10 and read, remember, the 3rd line. So this part, the page part is taken, okay, and it is given to the page table. In the page table, I am just writing like this. Page, there are entries. What are the entries you have? For page number 5, the frame number is 7. So it is written. For page number 10, frame number, remember page is logical, frame is physical, frame number is 7. So go and search for the frame number 7 in the memory. Remember, memory, there what you have? Frames. So go to the frame number 7. So that is what it says. Even though CPU says go to the page number 10, but what you are getting, page table, what it says, okay, page number 10 is mapped to frame number 7. So go to the frame number 7 and then use the same offset. What is the offset? Then read the 3rd line. So simple as that. Okay, even though the CPU says go to the page number 10 and read the 3rd line, but when it comes to the physical memory, what it is changed? It is changed as go to the frame number 7 and then read the 3rd line. Okay, simple as that. Now who did this mapping? Page table is doing the mapping. So what is the page table is doing? It will map for the corresponding page number. What is the frame number? So that is what you have. So if you look at this page table here, so this page table here, the entries of this will be of this type. So for example, you may get 4 here and you may get 16 here. What is the meaning of that? 4 and 16. Am I taking the square of 4? No. This is the page number. So if the CPU says page number 4, then where you are supposed to go? You have to go to the frame number 16. So if it is page number is 4, go to the page number of the frame number 16. And what about the offset? Offset is once you reach to the 15th 16th page here, go this much distance from the beginning, go up to the offset. This is what is called as offset. Go up to this much of distance, you will find the memory or you will find the reference, read and give it to me. Now that is why I told you the frame size and the page size must be same. So remember, if the size of the page and size of the frame are same, what happens is the offset will be same. So here, suppose if you say if the CPU says go to the page number 10 and read 51 line, if it says, and when you come over here, you get the some frame, some mapping is been done, and you come here, corresponding page number 5, you come here and you find that the length of it is only 25 lines are there in this. So here you have 51 lines, here 25 lines. In that case, what to do? In that case, again you have to struggle, scratch your head and try to get the one. So that's why the size is kept same. Now only the problem is you find for the corresponding page, you find the corresponding frame. That's it, you will get the entry. Okay, so whenever a CPU generates an address, as I have told you, it generates two things. What are the two things it generates? It generates a page number and it then generates the page offset. Two things are generated. Okay, page number is used to index the frame table. I already told you. And what is there in the frame table? Just now I have told you. So what is there in the frame table? Frame table contains the indexes. What is there for the corresponding page? So for the page number 5, the corresponding base address, you know, when you talk about physical address, we say base address, the starting address. You have encountered this word when you talked about arrays in C program. So arrays, you have base and then offset. Okay, so suppose if this is written, what is the meaning of this? For the page number 5, you have to search the what, frame number 31. So that is it, that mapping. 31 is the starting point, that is the base. Starting point is, you know very well, it is called as a base address. Okay, then what you need to do, then remember, it generates two things. One is the page number, and what is the next generated? The offset. That offset you have to add for this base address. You add the offset, you get the corresponding location. So as simple as that. Let's try to look at how this thing has been done. So let's assume that the page size is 4 bytes. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the page size. Let's assume that the physical address is of size total physical address available is 32 bytes, and you divide them equally. You have to divide it. If this is 4, there it cannot be 8. Remember, the size of this physical address and size of frame must be same. So you divide into 8 frames. So you have 8 frames here, and you can have any number of logical address. Now how does this will work? Suppose if somebody says, I want to read, if the CPU says, I want to read from the 0th page. That, remember, 0, you may say, where is the 0 page? Remember, 0 is for us computer science, 0, A of 0, A of B of 0. So 0 is the starting address. So you know that. Okay. So 0th page, 0th offset. So what to do in that case? So just 0th page and 0th offset. So in other words, you wanted to read this particular thing. Where is that available? So how to go about this? So take this 0 and find in the page table where is this 0 is mapped. This is your page address. Where is 0 mapped in? It is mapped to the which one? So it is mapped to the 5. So it is mapped to the 5 means which is the address. So every address, what is the size of it? It is size is 4. So multiply it with the 4. So what you get? 4. Remember, size of it is 4. So I have already told you the size of everything is 4. So 4 into 5 is 20. So it says go to the, remember, not go to the 5th page. 5th page is not there now. Only continuous numbering is there in your physical memory. That I explained it just to get the idea how it is working. So go to the 20th base address, 20th, go here, 20th base address, and then what it is saying, read the 0th byte. That means whatever is there at the 20th location, read it for me. Let's look at how it is done one more time. What if it says that read the address 3? So where is the address 3? Address 3 means page 0 and offset 3. So how do you go about it? Page 0. Where is the page 0 is being mapped? It is mapped to the 5. 5 into 4. What is 5 into 4? 20. So you go to the 20th place over here and then add the offset. What is the offset? Is given 3. 20 plus 3. What is 20 plus 3 is 23. So you get the value there, 23. Okay, similarly you do all the mapping. So this is how the mapping will work. Now there is some minor problem. So one of the problem is, like swapping, we don't get external swap fragmentation. In swapping we actually get the external fragmentation, whereas in case of paging we get internal fragmentation. What is the meaning of saying fragmentation? Fragmentation is space is allocated. So you allocate the spaces in blocks. Okay, but not entire thing, not all the page is being used. Some part of the page is not used because the program ended here. The other part is just a waste. You are wasting the space. Why this problem happens? Because I told you that size of the page and the size of the frame must be same. Otherwise, you will have problem with the mapping. The offset mapping will create a problem. So now you are left with the creating the equal sized page, equal sized frame. Now the problem is you write the program, you write the lengthy program, where is this one. You write the full program, you keep on writing, and it will not, very well, it may not come always, it may not come to the end of the page, that, okay, when you are writing it on your books. So sometime what happens, when you end the chapter, some space is left over, is it not? You can't use it because it is the end of the chapter. At least when you take the printout for your which one record books, wherever you leave that page, that's a waste, is it not? You may say that one page is waste, one tree is cut there, okay, so don't think that it is nothing. So when you waste the page, you lose the tree there. So here what you lose, here you are losing the resource. Remember, we want everything to be efficient. Simply wasting the some amount, you have 100 programs running, you want multi-programming environment where 100 programs are running, every program is small, it is wasting. But if you add all these small, then you get a big one. So here the problem is internally some space is not used because the size of the frames are fixed. What happens is you may not the program or the process or whatever you call it as may not fit fully, and some space may be wasted. That is what is called as a internal fragmentation. So let's get a simple idea. So if the page size is 2048, okay, bytes, that is 2 KB, and if you have to allocate 5000 bytes, how many frames are required? So that's the question. So remember what is done over here, the page size, okay, is what is it? Remember, page size is same as the frame size. They are equal size. So don't say, oh sir, you said it is frame size of them are same, okay, otherwise you will have mapping problem. So I will not take the one. Okay, so you have the frame. What is the size of the frame? Size of the frame is 2K. Okay, all of them are fixed size. So how many I have to accommodate? So for in the first one I can accommodate 10. Remember, totally I have to accommodate how many? 5000. So in the first one I will accommodate 2048. In the second one I will accommodate 2048. So how much is left over? Let me go to the calculator for you and let me do that thing for you so that you can also see it. So you have a 2048, okay, into 2. How much it is going to come? Okay, 496. What is you are supposed to allocate 5000. Let me subtract it from 5000. So 5000. What is left over? Ignore the minus sign. What is left over is a 904K. So 904 bytes. So out of this 5000, 904 bytes are left over. So you can fill the first frame with the capacity 2048. You can fill the second frame fully, you can fill it, okay, with the 2048. But what about the remaining? For 904 you can't say no, I will reduce the size of the frame. It is not allowed. You will again have to take the 2048 size frame. In this you are just going to keep 904 bytes there. Remember, you are taking the third frame, but what is it? You cannot completely fill it. How much you are losing out of this 2048? Subtract 904. You are wasting 1114 bytes wasted. So this is called as internal fragmentation. You cannot fit the second program here. Don't ever think of putting second program here. For one process, 3 frames are allotted. Frames are not shared. Okay, so that is called as internal fragmentation. Okay, let's look at the worst case and let's get the average. So what is the best case? What is the best case? Best case is you have the frame, you fill it, you have the next phase frame, you fill it, you have the last frame, you fill it. So that means all of them are fully occupying the frames, no waste at all. That's the best case. That means wastage is a 0. Okay. What about the worst case? In the worst case, what happens is you get a frame, you get a new frame, only one byte is used, only one byte is used, remaining all are wasted. Just one byte, for just one small piece was there, it can fit in the last frame, you take it to the next frame, one byte, that's all, waste, complete waste. Okay, so what is the average? Average, you just take this one, so average is roughly 50%. If you take it 99 over here, last byte is remaining, so 0, if say 100 is the size, so if you take this as size as 100, 0 wastage, best fit, 99 worst fit, average you get roughly half the sheets are wasted. So if you take on an average, roughly half the page is been wasted. Okay. Now then the question comes, okay, how can I reduce it? The way you can reduce it is, instead of taking a very large page, take a small page. Okay, that is what you do, is it not? If you are given a chance of selecting the book for your assignment, what you will do, you will take a very small notebook, is it not? So that the number of pages will be more, and you can say that I have done my assignment. So that's why they are given a fixed size assignment books for you. So that is one part. Okay, now let's come back to the, if the size is small, what will happen is no, if the size is very very large, then even if one byte is a complete waste will be there. If the size of the page itself is very small, what happens, you may not waste too much. So you may think like that, if the size is less, even if one byte is size is small, so you may not lose much. So you may say that. Okay, but the problem is if the size is small, remember you have your pages and you have the frames here, and in between what you have a table, that is page table, that is creating this mapping. If you have less number of if the size is less, you will have more number of pages, remember, is it not? Suppose just to give you an example, suppose the size of the RAM is 20. Okay, if you take a page of size 2, how many pages or frames or pages, whatever you take, will be there? So 10 will be there, 20 by 2. Okay, so there will be 10 frames will be there. If you take the size as 4, how many will be there? You will have a bigger one, but 4 will be there. Okay, if you take 10, you will have still a bigger. Okay, so why did I tell you? If you reduce the size of the frame, remember this is page number 1, frame number 2, frame number 3, and who is doing this mapping? There is this page table which will do the mapping between the frames and page and the frames. If you have too many frames, then the mapping will also increase. The size of the page table will also increase. Next one is, remember, reading or writing from the desk. If you just read one byte from the desk, it is definitely a terrible mistake, because you are wasting too much of resource. So whenever we want to read from the desk, that is secondary storage, we will read in bulk, so that efficiency is more, you know very well. So if you want to get something from your local store, okay, you go to the market and you get it. You may pick up a auto and come back home if you don't have your own vehicle, but you will not book a pickup, the Mahindra pickup, or maybe Tata Ace, or maybe the Tata 407 truck, or maybe the bigger truck there. It's going to be a waste, is it not? If the size, suppose if something has to be transported from Mangalore to Mumbai, some big content has to be transported. If I put it in auto rickshaw, and then I will have to hire 100 auto rickshaws, because a lot of things has to be carried. So what I will do is I will put everything in one big truck, a Tata truck or Leyland truck, and then transport it over there. So when say bada hai to behtar hai, so they say that. So if you are reading large content from the desk, it is efficient. if you start reading one small thing, you will get stuck because the input output operation is there, and then it's going to add additional time, or it's going to consume more time for reading and writing. Okay, so we know very well that in order to achieve the mapping between the page and the frame, we use the frame table, and in the frame table, for every physical page there is going to be one entry in the table. Now, how do we achieve this one? I told you that there is no magic. There must be some hardware support to achieve it. Now, generally what is being done is a separate registers will be used. Now, again, I don't know whether how much you have studied about the microprocessor. So there will be registers in the microprocessor, and the two register that is being used with respect to the paging is page table base register, that is the starting point of the page, and what will be the length. So this register will contain the information saying that where is the location on your RAM, what is the base, you know what is the base address. So that is it will point to the base address, and the other one will say what is the length of that particular page. So that two registers will be used. Okay, now the problem is the idea is very good. So what we are doing is we are not putting the data in continuous memory, because the memory may not be always continuous. There may be other programs. When you have multi-programming environment, you know very well, there is no chance that you can get a continuous allocation. Okay, so you know, when you enter the bus, you may not always get the full seat. Sometimes one person has to sit here, another person has to sit here, because many are there. So same story, how you are facing the problem in the city bus or train or any other place, the same problem is here. When there are multiple programs, some of them, some memory is free, some memory is occupied, and you may not always get a continuous slot. Okay, then what to do? You use the paging system to achieve load the program. Now the problem is if you have the page, what is the issue that you encounter? Remember, whenever a CPU generates an address, so what it generates a page number and the offset. Okay, and the offset. Now where is the page number? Page number is there in the page table. Now you cannot directly go and read from the memory. You have to first go and get the frame number. For this frame number, you add the offset, then you will reach here. So if this was not there, generally what happens? CPU generates an address, you take that address directly to the memory and you get it. But now what is happening? CPU generates address in the form page and offset. Directly you can't go to the memory. First you have to go to the page table, then get the frame number. For that frame number, add the offset, then go. Okay, so it is two references. Okay, so for every instruction, data or instruction, you need two memory access. One is to get that frame number, and then actually the actual data which is there in the physical memory. So your speed is increased or slowed down by a factor of 2. Now how to increase this speed? How can I improve the speed? To improve the speed, we need something that works very faster, and we use a special hardware called as fast lookup. Okay, it is also called as associative memory, or in general it is called as translation look aside buffer. This is a high speed cache. At least you know what is a cache. Hope you studied it in your first semester. What is a cache? So it is a high speed cache that is kept so that you can quickly access the memory. Remember, otherwise what will happen? Your speed is reduced. First you have to get the frame number. One cycle is wasted. Next add the offset, and then go ahead and get the frame. Now how can I improve it? I can improve it if it is there in the cache. You know what is a cache. Hope everybody knows what is a cache. So what is there in the translation look aside buffer? There are two pieces are there. So this buffer contains it's like a table, but it is a high speed table. So it contains two things. One is the key, the other one is the value. So two things will be there, key and value will be there. So like page number 1, frame number 7, key is 1, value is 7. Page number 2, the frame number 9, like that. Key value pair will be there. So you may say that, okay, what is so great about it? The great thing about the associative memory is they are able to search the entire table in one shot. So if you give a key value, suppose if you say search the value, search the key 5, then in generally what you will do, you go for linear search. You have done that in your data structure, one after the other, or you may go for binary search. You have done that thing in the data structure. But here what is done is, it's a hardware implementation. It simultaneously go in parallel, it will search all of them in one shot, and immediately it will tell you what is the value corresponding to the key 5. So if the value is 14, so it will in one shot it will search all of them and it will tell you the value is 14. For the key 5, the value is 14. In linear search, what you have to do? First you have to see, is it equal to? If it is equal to, then for I equal to 1 to n, you repeat and finally you get it. So it will take a lot of CPU cycle. Here it is not the case. That is why they are called as associative memory. They are associating the value with the key. It will search in one shot and get the result. Okay. If the value is found, its value is returned. Okay. You may say that, okay, that's well and good. Why can't we have it? You know very well, hardware means it comes with the expensive, it's expensive hardware. So we cannot have 100 megabyte of translation lookup aside buffers. It's not possible. Very small, tiny will be there. You know very well, cache memories are very small. You don't get all the content. What is there in the cache? Hope everybody knows it. Cache contains the recently used values. Everybody knows about this. Remember, cache will not contain unwanted data. It will contain recently used values. Why? Because we think that when we refer something, we will again refer it back. So you know very well. If I give a punishment to one student in this class, I will give the punishment again in the next class also, because then I will remember the name of a student. So what is that means? I will remember the reference again. CPU will do the same thing. So when it reads the value for the first time, it is bound to read it again. Okay, so it's so simple as that. So let's look at how the things will work if I have the translation look aside buffer. So again, CPU generates page and the offset. Now when it comes to the translation look aside buffer, the key, that is page number, is parallelly searched. Remember I told you it searches in the translation look aside buffer. If you are lucky enough and if you can get the value, immediately you will get the value, add the offset and then refer to the memory. So that's simple as that. If it is there in the TLB, that is translation look aside buffer, within one shot it will give you the answer, and then add that thing to the offset, go and refer to the memory. But what if it is not there? This is called as a miss. If it misses the value, in that case it will not return anything. In that case what you have to do is, now you searched here, it is not found. In that case manually you go to the page table, search the value, get the offset, get the frame, add the offset and then search. Okay, if it is not found in the TLB, why it is not found in the TLB? I told you it is a cache and it is not infinite capacity. It is small capacity. It won't have all the references. Only what is recently used values will be there. So if it is not there in the cache, then you take the longer route, go to the page table, get the frame, add the offset and then refer it. That's not the end of it. Because you have referenced it, bring it back and place it in the TLB. So remember, what is there in the cache? Recently used values. You have started using a value, is it not? you've started using the value. So get this for this page number, what is the frame number, that value you again put it back into the which one, TLB, so that next time if the same thing is requested, immediately it can be found. So you if you access something for the first time, just put it in the cache. Next time if it is required, just use the cache for getting it. So rather than going to the memory and getting from the memory. Okay, so this is how it goes. Now the problem is again there is some other problems which are there. What are the other problems? When you get the frame and when you put it over here, if this is already full, if this is small memory, is it not? What if the cache is full? In that case, you find someone and replace them. Okay, full one entry and then put it. Only small, very well. If you go to a which one, saloon, and if the saloon is already full, what you will, can you cut your hair? It's not possible. Somebody has to come out, then only you can enter. So old has to go out, new will enter there. Okay, however there are some schemes in which the TLB, you can say that some entries has to be fixed, don't remove some entry. These are all hardware related thing. You can just tell the TLB that don't remove this. Whenever you want to replace, this is called as a replacement, you have to replace one old value with a new value. When you are replacing it, you can tell the TLB that hold on to that, I want that for next reference. So if you tell that, TLB will not replace it. So that these are all other things which are there. So this is what I have already explained and I have given it in writing. So if there is a miss, you have to come back and then read it. So replacement policy I have already told you. Okay, this is the one that I told at the end is called as wire down. So wire down means you can tell the TLB that not to remove an entry from the TLB. Why do you use it? Suppose if there are kernel codes are there, kernel modules are there, important modules are there, that will be used every now and then. So you can tell the TLB that they are always being used. If not now, it will be used later. So don't remove it from the TLB. That's all in today's class. Thank you for your interest. We will meet again in the next class. Thank you.